this video, we're going to describe what a wireframe is, the difference between low fidelity and high fidelity wireframes, the elements of wireframes, and then how wireframes can be used when creating websites. We're going to be talking about this later on in the context of the Balsamiq product for creating wireframes. But first, we're going to go through some just quick tips and descriptions about what a wireframe is. So a wireframe is essentially a visual guide, and that represents the skeletal framework of a web page or an interface for an application. So wireframes can be produced in many formats. You can have interactive digital wireframes to paper prototypes. Interactive digital wireframes allow the user to sometimes navigate through the wireframe, click where appropriate, and kind of give an idea of how the final application or the website might function. So the purpose of a wireframe usually is to determine the best layout for the page or the application. And it also helps to indicate things like functionality, behavior, and priority of content. So those things are usually very important, and it's important to get those right on your wireframe. So a wireframe itself is always purposefully lacking in style, so it will be devoid of things like colors, advanced typography, or images of any sort. Now, one of the reasons wireframes are like this is because it's thought that elements such as colors and typography detract from the purpose of defining priority of content and layouts. So a lot of the times when creating wireframes for projects where the wireframe might need to be shown to the client, it's important to leave those things out, because a lot of the time clients can focus on things like colors and typography and not actually focus on the priority items on the page, which is essentially content and layout, to make sure that the content that the client wants is there, or the content that the product needs is there, the application needs is there, rather than focusing on things like colors and typography. So wireframes can have different levels of detail also, and these levels can be broken up into two types of wireframes: low fidelity and high fidelity. So we can have a look at a low fidelity wireframe. So a low fidelity wireframe is basically anything from a sketch on the back of a napkin to a rough sketch on a whiteboard or a notepad. It's kind of like something that's done in a hurry to give a quick indication of what it should look like. So it's generally got a low to moderate level of detail, and it can contain dummy or filler content. It means that they're usually pretty quick to create, and they can be iterated upon and improved pretty easily. So it's a starting wireframe, essentially. Then on the opposite side, high fidelity wireframes, those are generally, so if we can have a look at one of those,